Hey guys, welcome to part 5 of the story time of how I was babysitting a friend's kids and something weird happened. Okay, I work a full-time job, so the only days I am technically off are Wednesday and Sunday usually, but this Sunday I have to work because I had issues on Friday. So I go in and my friend goes, "Hey, can you watch the kids because I have to work a double shift. I will come pick them up before my second shift starts and I will drop them off with my mom." I was like, cool. So I was like, "Hey, if you want me to, I can watch the kids till late. I don't mind." So she brings the kids over at 8 in the morning. And the little girl, I'm, making them breakfast and we're having oatmeal and we're having cereal. And I, bring out the toys that I keep for like my nieces or any kids that I'm watching. And she's playing with them and so is her brother. And I turn on some cartoons because I'm like, "What cartoons do you like?" And the little girl, she's like 2 or 3 and she's like, "I want to watch Blue's Clues." Me and Blue are tight. I used to watch him back in the day, and I was just going on ridiculous about how much I loved Blue's Clues, okay? So, me and my cousins used to watch it. When we were together and our moms would let us hang out, that is one thing my aunt put on for us all to watch. Do I have... No, it's just them all. Okay. So then I turn around and so they're watching Blue's Clues and I have Boomerang, so it does like the old school Blue's Clues. Noggin will show the old school Blue's Clues and we mixed it up and we watched the newer version. And so we're sitting there and they're watching and it becomes lunchtime and they're just playing around. And the little girl comes up to me and she goes, "Topanga, Topanga," and grabs my pant leg like this, okay? And she's shaking that thing. I'm thinking, oh God, I'm gonna lose my drawers in front of this kid. Good thing I have a drawers on because it would not be good. So, she goes, "I have something to tell you." I said, "Yes, sweetheart." And she goes, "I have a friend and she's a little girl like me and I'm playing with her." And I'm like, "Oh, you have an imaginary friend. That's awesome. I had one. Her name was Jennifer." So I'm like, okay. And I'm like, cool. So I'm just sitting there and I'm like going along with it because I'm like, whatever, imaginary friends are cool. Me and my imaginary friend used to give my cousin and sister a hard time when they were being little crapheads to me. So, more power to you. And so she plays and her mom comes and gets the kids about 4:30ish, 4:45, way before my mom comes and visits. So the kids, so as they were leaving, my friend goes, "Hey, could you watch the kids on a regular basis on Wednesdays? And every Wednesday you watch the kids, I'll pay you $200 to $400. In that time frame, I'll pay you with Cash App and I'll give you $1,000 bonus, but I need a nanny on that day." And I said, "Hey, I get off at 7 on Fridays. I can watch the kids before I go to work on any day you need me." And she goes, "Okay, I'll keep that in mind." She's like, "I really need a nanny." And with her job changing to full-time pretty soon, she needed a nanny to watch the kids. So she's like, "Hey, I trust you with my kids. She knows I babysit kids. She She's known me forever. So her daughter comes up to her, and this is the part that scares the bejesus out of me. And the little girl looked us dead in the eye, and we think she's just playing around. We think she's being cute. We didn't want to scare her little brother. The little brother is 5, but he's older than her, or she's the youngest, and then he's the oldest. But we didn't want to scare the brother, and the mom was like, so she tells her mom, I have an imaginary friend, but I can't tell you the name. She's a little girl I've been playing with all day long. So her and her mom, or B and her mom, don't think anything of it. And then the hair on the back of my neck, y'all, stood straight up. Something was like, oh, this ain't good. So that night my mom comes home, and, she's doing her thing, I'm doing my thing, and we go to bed. 2 o'clock in the morning, we hear this big kaboom. It was like kaboom. Okay? And I'm sitting there and I'm like, what the? And at first I just think, okay, it's the neighbors outside. I'm going back to bed. So the next day I'm at work and I'm about to finish up my shift because it's one of my early days. And we were just sitting there finishing up the shift. So I turn around and we go, my mom comes up to me and she brings out like this singular domino. And she said, when I woke up at 2 o'clock in the morning this morning, dominoes were scattered everywhere. Do you know why? And I'm like, no, did you accidentally? And my first response was, did you accidentally knock them over? And she goes, did you bring someone or something in this house that was not good? And I said, no, because all I do is work and pay bills pretty much. So I'm sitting there or do YouTube. And she's like, okay. And then I explained to my mom about the little girl that I had babysat and what she had said. And it kind of creeped me out and I didn't think anything of it. So the next week she comes and I babysat, and this time this heifer brings her kids. And I'm not a morning person, but today I had to get up at 6:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, because I have to be at work at 7. So usually on my days off, I don't get up at 7 because I have to be, alert for work the next day. So I'm sitting there, she brings the kids, and the little girl is like having a full-fledged conversation, and the mom's like, don't mind anything about it. It's imaginary friend, I'm like, no. I look at that little girl and I'm like, hey, would you please tell me, what is your imaginary friend's name? And I'm trying to get info because I'm creeped out at this point. And the little girl goes, I can't tell you. I said, do you not know? Have you not made up a name for her yet? And she goes, she hasn't told me. So I always call her the little girl I play with. And I'm like, okay. I back up and I'm just, making lunch, and she is giggling, laughing, playing with toys, and just talking. And my brother goes, she has an imaginary friend. I had one of those when I was younger, and I'm like, cool. So I'm making pizza, and I'm not paying attention, and she comes up to me again, and she's like, Miss Topanga, I have an imaginary friend. I'm like, yeah, sweetie, you told me. And she told me she has a big secret, but I can't tell anyone. I'm like, okay. Well, if you don't want to tell me, that's okay. I'm cool. So then I come up and she goes, when are you going to have kids? And I said, as soon as I get married and God intends it to happen. Because I didn't know how to answer that question. And I'm like sitting there and I'm answering that question the best I can. So then we get done and my friend comes back. She gets her kid again. And the second night, the dominoes fall. And this time, my mom goes, okay. And I started feeling like a cold area in my office area of where my office is located. And it was very, very like, even when it was hot outside, I was always in a blanket, doing my work. Love you guys, gotta go.